Another week, another episode of the Retro Gamers. What's going on, everyone? Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What's happening?
You know.
The usual.
That's about it.
I just know.
Yeah, you just know. We don't need to go beyond that.
No. I introduced us as the Retro Gamers, but we're going to have a very special episode. Remember back in the 80s, you had those SVEs? VSEs, very special episodes of shows, like Dudley getting, touched or, Tootie taking drugs or something like that.
Or no, Jesse Spano taking
that's a classic.
Caffeine pills.
That's a classic. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. That's the best one ever.
Best episode of Saved by the Bell ever. Why didn't they ever make a video game from that show?
Which was more disturbing? Hold on, then we're going to move on. Which was more disturbing? The one for Different Strokes when Arnold and Dudley were going to get touched by the bike owner shop, or the one when they kidnapped Sam?
Oh no! See, I thought you were going to say the one where
what's her face had a.
No. But when Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's kidnaps Kimberly and Arnold.
Oh, I forgot they got kidnapped. I forgot about.
By Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. That was a two-parter too.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, we should have left Kimberly.
Well, you know what? It was a downward spiral from there for her.
Went on to Night Trap, and that was it. Game over. Literally.
Night Trap, a game I just recently had in my hands.
There you go. Well, in this very special episode of the Retro Gamers, one of us gets touched. No, not at all.
It's going to be hard to do. We're 3,000 miles apart.
We're going to be the not so retro gamers. We, every once in a while during the year, we're gamers. We're both gamers. Hopefully everyone listening to the show are gamers. And as much as we love old school games, and both of us, me and Anthony, have been doing a lot with kind of setting up retro systems and everything. We'll talk about that in episodes to come. But we're still at heart gamers, even for the modern stuff. And every once in a blue moon, we're going to take kind of an episode, time out from the old, and talk about the new. And that's what I want to talk about, because just this week, Nintendo finally broke out the new, what's called Nintendo Switch. It's their new home console that I figured maybe we could talk about for a little while, because, Nintendo, a lot of us started with Nintendo, and the company's been with us for our entire lives, I think. So we've grown with the company.
Yeah, I think at the heart of our, at least for us, at least at the heart of gaming, and the first company that comes to mind will always be Nintendo, because we were the NES generation.
Definitely. I mean,
so
Atari was there, but it was Nintendo that took off.
Yeah, I mean, Atari was there, but then Atari became victim of the the video game crash, and then Nintendo saved the industry more or less. So I think and I think that plays a huge part in it. Everybody remembers Atari fondly until that moment when it crashed, when the video game industry crashed. So and we were obviously we were right in Nintendo's wheelhouse in terms of who they were targeting with that first NES system. Yep. So so I think no matter how many companies come out with systems, Nintendo is always going to be that number one.
Oh yeah, in my opinion, certainly as well. I agree with you totally.
Now I remember a certain somebody, like when we first met and were hanging out. I remember a certain somebody who was a Nintendo snob. And I remember many conversations with you on how you refused to buy a Sony PlayStation because it wasn't Nintendo.
No, maybe not because it wasn't. I mean, I had a Genesis.
No.
Then, but
yeah,
I did fight PlayStation.
You fought PlayStation like tooth and nail. I remember, you just were not buying that system.
I didn't think
it was N64.
Oh, totally.
Nothing else.
I was a Nintendo
and then
fanboy. What can I say?
PlayStation 2 came out, and you had to cave because PlayStation 2 was awesome.
Hold on.
Did you not cave at PlayStation 2?
No, I caved at PlayStation 1. So with PlayStation 1, I'll tell you right, here we go. I was in college. That's when I got a PlayStation. It was 99? I bought PlayStation 1 because of SmackDown.
Oh, right. SmackDown
That was the
2.
only reason why I bought
SmackDown.
a PlayStation. The first SmackDown. So whatever year that came out. 99 probably. Maybe 2000.
Yeah, somewhere around like 98, 99.
I can remember it was probably more 99, 2000 because I was in... No, it had to be later than that because... All right, now you got me thinking about this. Because I was already... Forgive me, I'm talking to myself. I was already in the other dorm room, and that was after... Oh, no, yeah, that would have been my sophomore year. Okay, so like around 99, 2000.
Thanks for that riveting.
No problem. Because I needed to justify it. I just found my diploma today, so I'm all about now my college years.
Oh God!
And apparently my diploma has the wrong year on it, but that's a whole other story for a whole other show. So
what, did you not graduate until like 2104?
No, apparently they dated the diploma when I mailed in the check to buy my diploma.
Oh yeah, that sounds about right.
Graduated technically summer of 02, but I paid for it in the winter of 03. So,
well, there you go.
Okay, so I didn't think PlayStation would last, but I was wrong. But in any event, Nintendo, a big Nintendo fan here, and Nintendo finally brought every incarnation, am I using that right? Probably not, of the new systems that they come out with is always a new innovation. And each system has always had something new to it.
You did use that correctly.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. So the Switch is no different, and we'll get into all that in a moment. Now, I watched live from Japan. Ironically, you were in Japan when the announcement and the thing was being broadcast.
I was in Japan. Unfortunately, I was in Osaka and not Tokyo. And when they made the announcement, which I think was at I forgot.
It was 11 o'clock here, 11 o'clock p.m. New York. So I think it was 6.
So go 14 hours ahead of that. So it was 11 a.m. plus 3, 2 p.m. It was 2 p.m. the next day.
Oh, yes.
In Tokyo. I was in Osaka, but at 2 p.m. that day, I was working. So unfortunately, yes, I was in the right country. No, I did not get a chance to see.
your opportune time to see this thing. Well, you haven't.
I know, exactly. I should have bullet trained down to Tokyo.
You should have. Thing runs like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Yeah, I'm kind of like, Long Island Railroad in Brooklyn Terminal. So
yeah, sure.
You haven't seen the press conference.
I have not seen the press conference. The only thing I know are the little snippets that I've managed to read online because I just got back in the country 2 days ago and I'm still catching up on everything.
Your 72-hour Saturday you're still recovering from.
It was a 41-hour Saturday. Thank you.
That jet lag has to be the worst.
I can't describe it. I really can't. That's even after trying to sleep on the plane. It's like,
and it's your second time doing it, so.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a third one coming up. Just leave me at this point. Just leave me there.
So
I can learn the language. Konnichiwa. I got that.
So first of all, we're going to talk about the aspects and a lot of things that were announced and everything. But if for no other reason, watch the press conference for some of the worst translating from Japanese to English that you have ever heard in your life. It is comical at points.
Well, that makes me want to watch it now.
They have the translate obviously off camera. I don't know where they are. They could be in New York. I don't know where they were. And I'm assuming they were live translating. I don't think they had the script that usually people have during these press conferences. Because when you hear them, some of these guys, you just hear them literally and the Switch will be sold at they're humming and like they're doing a podcast and they're me.
Well, if that's the case, they could have just hired you.
It was just and then this one guy comes out, he was dancing around or something, and even the translator didn't know what to make of it. Oh, it was fantastic.
Well, usually Nintendo, when they do make an announcement, they try to make it a little bit of a spectacle, so they do have something.
It wasn't as spectacle-ish as you would have thought.
No, that's not a word.
All right, I'm 1 for 1.
That's that's actually pitiful, is what that is.
It really kind of was fairly straightforward. I mean, they did some pre-recorded stuff that was interesting by the Japanese Willem Dafoe, I'm calling him, because this guy looked just like a Japanese Willem Dafoe.
Oh, awesome. So the Green
great.
Goblin was there.
Oh, totally. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about the basics here. Nintendo Switch launching March 3rd in North America, actually worldwide, March 3rd, 2017.
Yeah, March 3rd worldwide, which is amazing considering the fact that, they're just coming out to making an announcement and it's going to come out in less than 2 months.
I mean, you had that teaser trailer, November, I think it was? Maybe late October, early November. But you're right, kind of, especially after the hoopla of the NES Classic and how they so short ran that. I hope to God they learned their lesson with the Switch.
Yeah. I was going to say, I wonder if it's just, a new promotional strategy on Nintendo's side because, announcing systems, a year out or a year and a half out, like, Sony or Microsoft does, hasn't actually worked well for them. So, the NES Classic, when they announced that, I think it was in September, and it came out in November. So it was like a 2-month window. Yeah. I think maybe, it's a good strategy because if you keep the window short, you can keep releasing information back to back to back to keep people excited about it so that everybody's going to rush out on March 3rd.
Agreed.
And from what I understand, the pre-orders are all sold out.
Pretty much, yeah, but they didn't sell out as bad as they did for the NES Classic. It took about a day or two, which was good.
Unfortunately, I was not privy to getting on the pre-order list because I was too busy working in Japan.
Well, I don't think it's going to be as bad as the NES Classic. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, are you going to be are you interested in getting this at launch, or is this something that, because I know it took you a little while, to get some the Xbox One and stuff like that?
Yeah, I usually delay purchasing a new system because, I mean, time-wise, I don't have a lot of time to play. Like, a great example is I bought the Xbox One almost a year ago. I think I bought it in March. Mm-hmm. I haven't played it yet. It just sits there.
There you go.
I mean, it's a great system to look at, and I've downloaded a bunch of games, and I've bought a bunch of games, and I think I put one in and just to make sure the system worked, and that's about as far as I've gotten. So, however, I do know somebody who managed to get 2 pre-orders, and it was by accident. He I forgot the story, but it was somewhere around the lines of he tried pre-ordering it somewhere and it didn't work, and he pre-ordered it somewhere else, but then he got contacted back and the first pre-order took, so now he's got 2 pre-orders. So he offered me the other one if I want it.
There you go.
So I believe I will take him up on the offer since
Good.
I still don't have an NES Classic, and I don't know when I'm going to get that. So I might as well get the Switch at launch while I can.
Might as well. Actually, I'll tell the story in a little bit. At one point, I also had, not on accident, but on purpose, 2 pre-orders. But it's because the second one ended up being a little cheaper, probably, than the first one. So, not cheaper, more economically friendly. So, I pre-ordered it on GameStop immediately. Actually, I'll get into that story because it's a whole convoluted story. So, anyway.
Oh, great.
Going price $299, $299.99, which actually
which is high for them.
I was going to say this is for a brand new system, not a bad price whatsoever.
Yeah, but you have to remember something with Nintendo systems. They're not as they're not like
they don't play DVDs. They don't play music.
That's what I mean. They're not like multimedia systems,
which is fine.
Like Microsoft and so. No, but that's what I mean. It's like, so I was actually very surprised when I saw the price at $299 because I'm like, I remember they did the same price for the Wii U at $299, and I think it was only like 3 months later or 4 months later they dropped it $50 because they realized people weren't buying it. So I'm actually really surprised that they're trying 300 again.
I think 300 because of some of the stats and everything on it, which we'll get into in a moment. I think 300 is actually, in my opinion, fairly inexpensive for some of the stuff that this thing's going to be doing and what it comes with. But to piggyback on what you just said, that's what happened with the 3DS. The 3DS was, I forgot what it was, X number of dollars at launch, and like a few months later, it dropped in price. And what they did, though, was, because I was one of them who did that, for those who already bought it, that's when they gave out, like, on the Virtual Console for the 3DS, 10 NES games and 10 Game Boy Advance games, which weren't even available to anyone else at the time. So they did make up for that for those who bought it and then so quickly they drop the price. I don't think they'd do that here with the Nintendo Switch, but I think $299 is actually reasonably priced. So, and we'll talk about that.
Well, of course, because we've talked.
No, nothing to do with that.
You're a Nintendo snob, so you'll pay whatever they throw at you.
No, not at all. If it was the WWE, yes, they can charge $1 million. I'll say that's a reasonable price. But for this, I think it's legit.
That's a whole other sickness. Let's not get into that. And that's not what our podcast is about anyway.
No. So, all right. So the Nintendo Switch, what it is a hybrid home console and portable console. I mean, if by now you've probably seen all the pictures, it's basically I apologize, I don't have the actual size of the basically tablet. It's a tablet. Which you put into a docking system and it'll broadcast on the television. It'll broadcast on the television in 1080p. It's got these two what they're called Joy-Con controllers that you can hold in like a grip style, take them off, put them on the sides of the tablet, and then just in the middle of a game pick it up and go. When it's in tablet mode, it runs at 720p, which is fine. That's not a problem. But,
nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
And the controllers are very Wii-like.
Yes, they're very Wii-like. You can use them like the Wii remote. You turn them sideways. You can use it to play as like for classic games or like multiplayer games. I want to get into those Joy-Con controllers in a little bit because I feel like depending on if you're player 1 or player 2, the way the buttons are set up is almost different. And it seems like it may be, if you have short thumbs, it may not work too well for one of the controllers at least. What else is?
Well, I mean, it looks. I mean, but it looks interesting, and I like that. I mean, Nintendo's sticking with the motion sensor with the controllers. Like that seems to be their thing.
Yeah. They've done it again with this whole. Supposedly, the Rumble is supposed to be a lot more responsive. They were on the press conference. They were talking about how like if you hold one of the Joy-Cons up, you can the way the Rumble. It's HD Rumble. The way it works, like if you shake it, it feels like there's ice in a glass. And just by shaking it, you can tell if it's 1 ice cube, 2 ice cubes, 3 ice cubes. This is how they did it in the press conference. You can feel water being poured into the glass. So supposedly this Rumble is supposed to be really, really good. 32 gigabytes. Cool. Oh yeah, 32 gigabytes of space,
which is small,
but it's expandable, which is good. Now,
right,
it does
get yourself an SD card slot or something.
Mini SD card slot, which they have confirmed can go up to 2 terabytes. Even though I haven't seen a 2 terabyte SD card yet.
2 terabyte SD card doesn't exist.
So far I've only seen 512. So
okay,
but there's rumor you may be able to use a USB external hard drive.
Yeah,
which even I have on the Wii U, but I don't remember seeing a USB port on the thing. So.
Do your games need to be on the hard drive?
No.
Or okay, so you can play them off of a cartridge.
Yes, let's talk about that. The game cartridges are almost like DS cartridges. That's what the carts look like, which I think is good. I think that's cool. It makes it a little easier to carry, not as sensitive carrying it around like a disc.
Yeah. No, I like the fact that they've actually decided.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they've decided to go back to a cartridge system because. Yep. Everybody else is doing disc-based, and when they tried disc-based, and I'm not saying they failed at it. I mean, because the Wii was, ultra successful, but I mean, there's something about Nintendo games on cartridge. I mean, it's the reason why I constantly go back to my N64 and my Super Nintendo and stuff like that. I was like, because, despite the limitations of a cartridge, they always manage to maximize, the value of what they can fit in a cartridge. So I feel like, that's their wheelhouse. I think that's where they shine the most. So I'm actually really excited about the fact that they are going back to that.
Yes, and I think for a system that's going to double as a portable system and a home system, having the carts will make it easier to carry because they're already starting to sell on Amazon and on GameStop. Excuse me, little mini, like you just put like 24 cart, like those little, like they look like 3DS cards, all in one little thing, and carry it with you. It goes right in your pocket.
Well, yeah. I mean, it just makes it a lot easier. I mean, if you had to carry discs around, it would be cumbersome.
And just physically, I mean, the PSP was good with an optical disc, but you just don't want that because you can skip and stuff like that. So it's good.
Oh, yeah.
Plus,
I mean, at least, and I'm happy they didn't go back to like the mini disc system they did with GameCube because like those would be easier to carry, but not necessary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Supposedly, it's depending on the game you're playing. In portable mode, it's 3 to 6 hours of battery, which I think is fine, because if you're going to be playing more than that traveling, there's something wrong with you. You know, when it's not plugged in, that is.
I was just going to say, so that will be you.
Yeah, totally. All the cons I go to. There will be other controllers, like a Pro controller, kind of like the Wii U had a Pro controller, a more traditional style controller.
Yep.
It'll have that. The Joy-Con controllers will come in technically 3 colors. You have your standard gray, which is what I pre-ordered, because the other one was sold out. They have one that comes in like light blue and hot pink, I guess, or red or something, blue and red. As a system, you can buy it where one, like the left Joy-Con's blue, the right one's red.
One is blue, one is red. Okay.
That one sold out in a heartbeat. And I actually had that for a hot minute. I had it on pre-order at GameStop.
Yep.
And then when I went over to Amazon, they didn't have it there, but Amazon I got better financing with. So I ended up buying it through Amazon. I got the gray controllers. You know, at the end, it really didn't bother me too much. I'm not too worried too much about the colored controllers at this point.
You should be proud of yourself.
So, and that's pretty much it about the system. I mean, the controllers you definitely want to see, and you'll be able to see it right online. The games. Let's get into the games here. This is what it's going to count with.
Yeah, because this I find very intriguing, and I'm saying intriguing, and not in a positive way either.
Oh, all right. Can't wait to hear what you're talking about with that. No pack-in game, which you really haven't done in a while.
Nobody's really doing that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they eventually do later when they drop the price, but at launch, we've talked about it before. The N64 was the first system I remember that didn't come with a game packed in. So they've been doing it for a while.
Well, are you talking about Nintendo, just Nintendo, or other systems?
To be honest with you, I really can't think of any other systems before N64 that did not come with a pack-in game.
I don't remember Sony PlayStation coming with one. Did it?
Well, didn't PlayStation come out after the N64?
No, I thought PlayStation preceded
did it beat it.
Maybe I'm
you're right. No, 98. Yeah, and the other one was 99. I don't remember when PlayStation came on launch. But still, all right, then let's go with Nintendo. So Nintendo, since the N64, I can't really think of a system that came with a... Nope, that's a lie. The Wii U did.
No, the Wii... I was going to say, didn't the Wii come with... Wii come with, like, Wii Sports or something? Or...
It did.
Carnival game or something like that.
Wii Sports, yeah. I mean, it's a little... and they kind of have their own version of Wii Sport, which we'll get into in a moment with the Switch. So I guess...
the Wii U came with Nintendo Land, so you're wrong.
Oh, Nintendo Land, I forgot about that.
Yeah, okay. So you're 100% wrong.
Because I got New Super Mario Brothers for Wii U for that one.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is you're wrong.
Interesting. So,
yeah, you know.
All right. Good night, folks. No. So, no pack-in games, but launch title will be Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Which is awesome. I mean, I've been waiting for that game for a while now. I mean, I was waiting for it to come out on the Wii U, obviously.
And it is coming out on the Wii U as well.
And it is still coming out on the Wii U. I mean, it seems to me like their Zelda games always wind up coming out on 2 systems because it takes them so long to make them that they've already got another system coming out when the Zelda game's ready to go. So it's just this happened with Twilight Princess. This happened with did it happen with Skyward Sword?
No, Skyward Sword was all Wii U.
Skyward Sword was just Wii.
Oh, Wii. I'm sorry, Wii U.
Yeah, so it definitely happened with Twilight Princess because that wound up on GameCube and Wii.
Yes,
and then it happened also, and it's happening also with Breath of the Wild. So, and I didn't Skyward Sword only came out on Wii, right? They didn't release it on Wii U.
Yeah, no, that was only Wii. Yeah, no, because they have Twilight Princess HD for Wii U. No, they didn't have. Right. I don't think it came out for it. I don't remember it coming out for that.
So,
and I wonder, because on Twilight Princess, if you remember, the way the dungeons were laid out, it laid out to the right on the Wii and to the left on the GameCube. I wonder if they'll flip the dungeons in Breath of the Wild. I haven't heard anything about it, but I wonder if
it all depends. Yeah. But, I mean, you can't launch with a more solid title than a Zelda title.
True.
So, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, judging by the rest of the list, I'm not impressed with what else is coming out on launch day.
Yeah, not huge launch not strong launch titles. Basically, you got Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. You're gonna have a new Just Dance game. You got a Super Bomberman. I was never a big Bomberman fan, but it is a popular game. So that I'll put in the plus column.
Okay.
And then they have what I was talking about, the Switch's version of Wii Sports. It's called 1-2 Switch, which is, again, a new innovation, a new take on playing video games. 1-2 Switch, actually, you don't play towards the television. You play towards each other. Like it's kind of like who's the fastest draw, or who hits a sword faster. So you actually play with the person next to you. You're actually looking at them in their eyes.
Now, what if you're an only child?
That's
and you're
the thing.
You're
like me,
alone?
yeah. I don't think it's going to lend really well to one-player games. I think it's kind of a two-player game.
Well, that's lame.
So, well, that's why you would buy it separately. So,
all right.
So,
not doesn't sound that awesome yet.
It's not a game changer. No pun intended. I think it's just a game like Wii Sports was and Wii Sports Resort that will just kind of show you the abilities of the system just for the sake.
I'm guessing there's going to be some type of single player in that. Otherwise,
it will be. But I can't imagine how good.
Yeah,
it is.
I can't imagine you like Nintendo alienating all of their single players out there.
So that's launch day, March 3rd, and then
you missed one very important game that I see on the list here.
What, Skylanders?
Yeah.
Skylanders, Imaginators as well, if you're a Skylander fan.
Woohoo!
So, and the Switch will be able to take the Amiibo as well. So that's, on a side note, that's good.
Well, I would hope so, considering, I'm sure people spent a ton of money on those little things.
I have
at
least 15 of them. I just got a new one today, an 8-bit Link.
Nice.
Yeah.
I could not get into Amiibo. That just did not work for me.
You know what?
The last thing I wanted was a bunch of little toys hanging around my house.
Depending on the game you're playing, it actually changed enough of the game that actually made it worth it. Yes, it is a bit of a collector's item, but it, depending on the ones that you had, did definitely make a difference on some games. So,
well, I get that. It's just I couldn't buy into it.
It's like pop vinyls, and that's why I'm swimming in them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, unfortunately, so am I.
So there's some other games coming out. Has Been Heroes, Snipper Clips. These are, again, more games that kind of take advantage of the system, take advantage of the unusual gameplay. But the next big game, you don't have to wait too long, like a month and a half, almost 2 months later, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yep, and now I really want to see what's going to be different about Mario Kart Deluxe, because I already own Mario Kart 8 for Wii U. So, and I'm sure they're calling it Deluxe because they're adding stuff to it. So
they sure are.
I'm curious to see what they're adding to make me want to buy it again.
Well, here's what they're adding.
Tell me.
It's going to have everything that the Wii U has, including all the DLCs already opened, of course. There is now a more traditional battle mode, like we remember in Mario Kart games of the past. The battle mode in Wii U was not that good. Here, they're bringing back the balloons, and it looks like you play not just against 4 players. You can play up to 8 players, which we'll get into in a moment for for games that include it. But
that's awesome.
It almost seems like every battle mode is 8 players, like the computer is the other 4. But that could have been just the way they were doing it for the
all right.
For the press
I'm in for that.
There will be from what I understand, double the number of tracks that are already available. So they're going to have new tracks.
Ooh.
They're going to have at least...
That's a lot. That's a lot of tracks.
Sure is. Yep. Almost 50 tracks. One of which...
that's not almost... They have 32 in the...
I thought they had 24
in the Wii U. I thought it was 32.
Okay, well, either way...
It's 4 per race, and there are 8 different races. So, yeah. 32.
That's including the DLCs.
Yes, including the DLC.
Okay, then, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's completely doubled... Tracks. But it's a lot more.
But still...
Oh, maybe it's 24 more tracks. I don't know.
18 more is pretty solid anyway.
Yeah. New players will be Inkling Boy and Inkling Girl, both from Splatoon, which is a huge popular game on the Wii U.
Okay.
King Boo, Dry Bowser, and Bowser Jr. And those are the ones that I remember for now. And I'm sure there'll be a couple more probably.
I'm sure there will be, and I'm sure there'll be DLC for it too.
Of course, the graphics are ramped up 1080p. which is really good.
That'll look really nice.
You'll be able to carry 2 weapons now as opposed to 1. A little different.
Oh,
but different
sweet.
nonetheless, yeah. Kind of like Double Dash, kind of sort of. So
Okay.
and
Double
that's-
Dash, I think, was the only Mario Kart game I did not own.
Really? It was actually
I
a
did
fun
not
one
get-
too.
Yeah, I know. I need to get my hands on it. I'm sure it's pricey, but
Let's see.
I think I have every other Mario Kart game except Double Dash.
Pretty much, right? I know you don't have Mario Kart 7 because I was on the DS.
Well, then I don't have Mario Kart 7.
Or Mario Kart Advance. Let's see.
Are you happy?
Yes, I am. What else is coming out? Oh, big announcement, because they're doing a lot of third parties. Wii U, excuse me. Nintendo Switch. Looks like Nintendo is really trying to get the third parties on the bandwagon. I think over 50 third party publishers are already signing up for Nintendo Switch. Skyrim has been announced for Nintendo Switch, which I think is a huge game that you would have never. I'm sure it's going to be a port, but just the fact that they're getting Skyrim on there, I think is big time.
Yeah, it's a big deal. That is a big deal.
The new FIFA game is going to be on there. That's a big deal. And then I haven't heard much about any other major third party. Well, let me see.
I'm looking at 2 right here. One is Sonic Mania.
I was just going to say this because I just pre-ordered that one too. Yeah, Sonic Mania.
And then there's Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Yep, I was going to get that the Final Challengers it's called. And that one's going to be fun because Ultra Street Fighter 2 is exactly what it sounds like. It's a throwback to the Street Fighter 2 games with 2 new characters. Who is it? Evil Ken and Evil Ryu and Violent Ken.
Oh, so they're not really new characters.
No,
they're just
not
twist
new
on
characters.
ones.
Sounds like an insane clown
Where's more?
posse.
They need a Mortal Kombat. That's what they need. They need to bring back a Mortal
Soon.
Kombat.
Well, it's going to be, I think, 25 years next year for Mortal Kombat.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
20 years.
I think it was, I think
96.
93, right? No, 93 was Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh, then it would be 25, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No one said it.
So that's kind of awesome.
There you go. So we'll see that.
But yeah, so I think, down the line, it looks like they're getting a little bit better in terms of games.
Yes.
I just think in the beginning it's going to be a little rocky. I think they're banking on a lot of people just hanging in with Zelda for a while.
Oh yeah, it's going to take a while to beat Zelda, which is why when you're watching the press conference, they say and a new game coming out, and it looks like New York City. Just a lot of stuff in New York City. They pan down to a manhole cover, so I'm like, oh great, new Turtles game, and character jumps out of the manhole. It's Mario. So there is a new... And people were losing it on the internet. You got to look up some of the responses about a game called Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey.
Yep.
When I say losing it, I mean it was funny stuff. There were... someone posted up what they put. They posted up, check out this awesome new Super Mario Odyssey screen grab. And it was from Sonic Adventure. When Sonic, for some reason, walking around with humans for no reason whatsoever. So, nice. Super Mario Odyssey is going to be the new entry into the Mario series. Comes out holiday of 2017, and they're saying this game is very much like Super Mario 64.
Oh God! Okay, so I've been waiting for like a Mario 64 sequel, quote unquote, and I didn't think Galaxy did it.
No.
The
Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, I didn't think Sunshine did it, and I didn't. And I love Super Mario. Was it 3D Land? That's on Wii U.
Oh, 3D World, yes.
3D World,
yes.
That game is amazing. I absolutely love that game.
Yep.
But again, more... not a Mario 64.
No, absolutely not.
Kind of thing. So. Yeah, I mean, if they're doing something that's in the vein of Mario 64, sign me up.
No, they definitely said it's in that core gameplay of Super Mario 64, and when you look at it, like he visits different worlds, and one of which just looks like New York City. It's wild, but it looks very much.
Well, he is from Brooklyn.
He is. He sure is.
Him and his brother.
Pretty cool. It's like almost like Super Mario GTA.
Oh boy, that would be fun.
That'd be awesome. Some other games coming out.
To me, give me your money.
Yeah, pretty. see him with the prostitutes. Poor Peach. What else is coming out?
That's where you'd find that. You wouldn't find Peach. You'd find Daisy like hanging out.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
cigarette
or Pauline.
Yes, and Toad is the pimp.
Splatoon 2 is coming out 2000. Try that again. Take two. Splatoon 2 is coming out summer of 2017. Skyrim is scheduled for fall of 2017. Then you got some other games coming out throughout the year. Minecraft, NBA 2K18, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I mean, they definitely got the beginning, like you said, is going to be a little rough, but I think as time goes on, the game's going to pick it up, especially near the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think there's also going to be, again, this is just what I'm reading, some Dragon Quest is going to be on there. Yep. They're also talking about, obviously, being able to download NES and SNES games.
That's what I wanted to mention next. Yes, exactly. Great segue. The press conference had no mention of the Virtual Console, first of all. So, but
cool.
Rumor is you're going to be able to download a bunch of Virtual Console games, including games from the GameCube. Mm-hmm. Which also leads me to wonder if that 32-gigabyte hard drive is not going to work well if you're able to download GameCube games.
Yeah, I mean GameCube games. But then again, they were on smaller discs, so. But still, they had. I know there's a potential that it's not that big, but I mean, I think it's just a given. If you're only going to get 32 gig on the console, you're going to have to buy an SD card. There's no question.
Well, let's do this. Let's be realistic. It's a 32 gigabyte, but like a quarter of that is already taken up by the system.
Yeah, so you're all right. So then you're talking about, like maybe 24 gig.
Maybe, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think when you buy this system, you need to know going into it, you're buying an SD card.
No doubt. And then the online service. Let's talk about this. So there will be an online service. Excuse me. Again, the press conference didn't. Oh, that's professional. Excuse me. The press conference didn't go.
That was rude.
It really was. The press conference really didn't go that much into the online service as far as if you need it or not for online gaming. I imagine you would, but it will be, for the first time in Nintendo's history, paid online service, like Xbox, like PlayStation. Pricing has not been mentioned yet.
I was just going to say, I have a feeling, though, that they're going to probably undercut the pricing.
They're usually a little lower in pricing, correct? But here from Nintendo's website, though, here's what will happen, though. It's going to be free at first. I think it'll be free for the first couple of months. It's going to be free for everybody. As you're a member, you will get a free, once a month, a free NES or SNES game to play. But the way they word it, you play it for a month. Now, I don't know. It's like
a rental.
Almost, yes. Now, these games, though, will be enhanced with online play, though, which is really cool.
Oh, interesting.
Playing an NES or a Super Nintendo game online that's awesome. But it just wasn't clear if, I don't know if it was lost in translation or not, if you only keep the game for a month or maybe you're able to play for it for free for a month and then you buy it, which is kind of like keeping it. So that's kind of up in the air. There will be parental control, which is good for anyone who has kids out there.
Well, according to the information I'm looking at, because I'm playing catch up, is that after the month you would need to purchase it to continue to play it. So it is just like a rental.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like rent. It's like lease to own.
Fair enough.
Now they better have a solid library when they launch if they want people to pay monthly for this online service.
I have a
feeling, know what I mean?
I have a feeling if you're going to play multiplayer, you have to pay online.
Oh yeah, there's no. Yeah, I mean that's a gimme. But I'm just saying, like in general, it's like, it's not worth paying a monthly fee if they don't have stuff on there.
True, you're right.
That's worth buying. So, it's just saying.
Well, with their current Virtual Console, they got some good games on it. So,
yeah, they do. They have some great. Some great games. No question about it.
Other than that, that's really the only other thing I want to mention big time about this is they had, like, all over the world, they had, the media was able to try out some of the stuff. And this is from GameSpot. GameSpot, there was a couple people out in London who was trying out the Switch. And what they said was the following. Now, it could lead to the fact a lot of it's demos, a lot of it is still in production, so they could be working out the bugs. Mm-hmm. The Rumble, supposedly not as high def as described in the press conference. Like, they were talking about how you can, like, shake the controller. You could tell how many ice cubes are in the glass.
Okay.
They were saying it's not really that strong. They did say on a small level, like, there's a game that has, like, ball bearings or something you have to do with. They said you can kind of feel something as small as ball bearings. But, like, when they were playing Zelda, they said the rumble really wasn't strong. They also said there was a little bit of slowdown with Zelda, but they also said it could be because it's a demo version or because it's still in production. So to be fair, probably has some bugs in it. So
that's possible.
So I'm not worried about that part. The rumble, I would like for it to be as high def as they're claiming it to be. So I'm a little concerned about that. Beyond that, I was talking earlier about the controllers. If you look at the Joy-Con controllers, when you hold them in landscape, kind of like an old like Nintendo thing you would. First of all, there's no D-pad.
No, it's just a joystick. 2 joysticks,
2 analog joysticks, and then like 4 buttons that are kind of in the shape of a D-pad, but not a traditional directional pad like we're used to. When you hold them sideways, like if you play Mario Kart, you can hold the controller sideways. It's like one set of controller, like the 4 buttons are like you're going to be bending your thumb up a little bit to play, and then the other one you're going to be stretching your thumb out to hit the buttons. That, I think, is going to be a little weird to get used to.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially you run the risk of developing text thumb like I have.
Yeah. No, totally, it's true. So, and plus, if you're so used to playing a certain way, it can kind of throw you off at first. So,
yeah, well, I mean, whenever a system comes out, though, like controllers are going to throw you off a little bit because they're always getting redesigned. I mean, granted, Sony and Microsoft have kind of settled into a controller, but still, with every new system, they tweak it slightly, so your hands still have to get used to it. To me, this is no different from any other new system where it's like, okay, new system, new controller, need a little time. That's all.
Definitely. And, I forgot to mention earlier, I'll mention it now. Speaking of multiplayer, definitely you can play multiplayer online. You can play multiplayer over Wi-Fi. So if you bring the system to a friend's house, hook up to the Wi-Fi, you can play over that. Or you can play local, where, if I'm not mistaken, the switches will connect to each other for up to 8-player gameplay. And everyone has their own screen, which is kind of funny because in one of the press release photos, they show 8 Nintendo Switches, yet the screens are still 4-player screens.
Well, you know what? I mean,
I don't think they're going to get like 32 players.
I was going to say, I don't think that. But I mean, considering the fact that unless you have a gigantic TV, I mean, splitting it up, into 8 would make it really tiny. So the fact that you're able to have 8 people and everybody's got their own screen right in front of their faces. Yeah, that's pretty awesome because, and not only that, you don't have to worry. You really don't have to worry about buying additional controllers for the system because if I'm, as long as the other person coming over to play has their own, they just bring theirs with them.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. It's so portable,
which is very appealing.
Tablet. And it's a touchscreen tablet too, which I find weird because when you're playing it on the television, you have no access to a touchscreen.
Yeah, but I think that's that's similar to the Wii U.
Yeah, but
the Wii U controller was a touchscreen, but you can't go up to the TV.
No, but you have the touchscreen in front of you.
Yeah.
Where with the Switch?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. When it's docked, you don't have access to the touchscreen. Well, I mean, in that instance, I'm sure you just use the controller to guide it.
Yeah. And of course, it has a little kickstand, so you can prop it up and stuff like that. So. It's
they thought of everything.
They sure have, even though I haven't seen a stylus yet. But overall, I think this is the feedback I've seen online and some of my friends and stuff. Definitely bigger than I heard for Wii U. So I think this may be what Nintendo's been waiting for.
Yeah, as I said, Nintendo needs this. I think this combined with the the NES Classic, I think, would have been. I mean, granted, I'm sure it's been a success considering the fact that they only put out a limited number, thinking it wasn't going to do well, and it sold out so quickly. Mm-hmm. So, I think that combined with this, since the pre-orders are already sold out, I think, I think right now things are looking up for them. Like I said, the biggest concern I have is probably with a younger generation who lack the patience that maybe some of us older people do. And if the system doesn't have a good, solid library of games within the first 3 months, I worry that people will lose interest. So here's hoping that does not happen.
No doubt, no doubt. And not to worry, anyone who owns a 3DS, Nintendo has said this is not a 3DS killer, so it's not going to put that out.
No, it is a Wii U killer though. So, and I have to say, and I have to say, I mean, I've really enjoyed my Wii U.
Me too. Really I just started playing it again. Actually, ever since the Switch came out and this presentation and stuff, I kind of been playing it more.
No, actually, I mean, I didn't buy PS4. But, between my Xbox One and my Wii U, I think I bought them within a month of each other. I bought the Wii U first, then I bought the Xbox One. And whenever I do have 10 minutes to play a game, I go right to the Wii U. I don't even go to my Xbox.
It's designed for quick gaming, in my opinion, the Wii U.
And that's the reason why I like Nintendo, especially these days now. Nintendo works for me because I need games that are just really quick. Mm-hmm. Things that I can sit down, play for 20 minutes, and walk away. I feel like, with Xbox and PlayStation 4, it's all about your Halos and your Call of Duties and stuff like that. And those are really involved like campaigns that I sadly don't have time for. So Nintendo, for me, at least for me, Nintendo, I always go back to Nintendo for that reason. It's like I can sit down, play for 20 minutes, walk away.
Yeah, totally.
And those are games that I find more appealing anyway.
There you go. Well, I think it's going to be good, and I'm sure there'll be more games that will be talked about. Who knows what's going to be downloadable? A lot of these games are going to be downloadable only. Like Sonic Mania, Ultra, Street Fighter 2. You have to download them.
And not only that, something else to keep in mind is when the Switch comes out, and the Wii U stops getting developed, all the Wii U games that I don't own yet, the prices are just gonna drop.
They sure will. And it's not, you can't play the Wii U on the Switch anyway, so you have to hold on to the Wii U. So
exactly. Well, I mean, I think it's almost a gimme now that most systems aren't backwards compatible. I know, like even Xbox One at first was not, and then they started releasing stuff. But still, I mean, once we moved into this newer generation, they just stopped being backwards compatible.
And you know what? I have no problem with that because the Super Nintendo wasn't backwards compatible. The N64 wasn't backwards compatible. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's understandable. It's just that, with technology now and with the way systems have been developed, like especially disk-based systems, it just makes sense to make them backwards compatible because all it is inserting text so it can read a disk.
You're right. And Nintendo was good with that. The Wii backwards compatible with the GameCube, the Wii U backwards compatible with the Wii. So, they were good with it.
So. No, it's fine. Now that they're going back to cartridge-based, though, to your point, cartridge-based systems were never backwards compatible for that reason. There was just it's designed for a specific cartridge.
Exactly. So, with that being said, that's the Nintendo Switch. So, looking forward to it March 3rd.
Me too. I have to call my friend after we're done here so I can tell him that I want that other pre-order of his.
Is it the gray console or is it the colored one?
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever it is.
I mean, I was going to say, does it matter?
Actually, it would, because you know why? This is the other thing I wanted to mention. So, the system's $299, right? The Joy-Cons, they're technically two pieces. They're $50 each.
Each piece?
Each one is $50. Now, you can buy them together for the low price of $80, but still...
Okay, so they need to do a price correction there.
The controller,
$80 for a controller.
I mean,
because you need both, right?
For most games, yeah. I mean, it comes with it. Don't get me wrong, but
no, I understand that. But if you want additional ones, because let's say you do have a friend coming over, and you want to play, you need a second controller if they don't have their own.
Forget that. Someone was pricing it out. Say you have kids and you want to have a dock in the main room and a dock in their bedroom. And because you can buy the dock separately, I think, as well.
Okay.
They were pricing it out. Like, it could cost you like $600, $700 at launch if you're going to buy all this stuff separately.
Okay, yeah. See, that they need to course correct on.
But when I read that about the controller, I was like, whoa. Because, I mean, the Joy-Cons, they are they're details. Don't get me wrong. But you're just better off buying a Pro controller for probably $50.
Exactly. I at that point, well, that's what I did with the Wii U because with the Wii U, I like the controller with the screen. But to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, with the exception of starting a game on my screen, I didn't really use the screen very much. So I bought a regular controller just so I could hold a regular controller. It's easier for me.
That's how I played most of my games, was with a Pro controller there. I mean, the gamepad was fun, but you're right. And actually, sometimes use the Pro controller with the gamepad. I'll just prop it up.
And actually, that was one of the reasons why I never wound up buying a Wii. The Wii is probably one of the only systems of Nintendo's that I've never purchased, like console systems, because I never liked the whole motion sensor thing. I want a controller in my hand to play. Maybe I'm just old school that way, but I don't want to stand in my living room and jump around to play a game
and move.
So no, so I wound up never buying a Wii, and actually to this day I still do not own a Wii, even though they eventually came out with a controller you could just hold in your hand. And eventually I have to cave because I need to play Skyward Sword. I haven't played Skyward Sword yet.
There's a few good games for the Wii.
I know. Well, no, there are a lot of good games. I remember games coming out for the Wii, and I'm like, crap. I wish I want to play all these games, but I don't want to stand in my living room and hack and slash a sword, pretend I'm doing it. It's just not my thing. Never worked for me. Of course, eventually I'll give in and get myself a Wii. Unlike the sad excuse for a Virtual Boy, which you own and nobody else does.
And I found
and I'm
4
very proud
games
to say that I've never purchased that, nor will I ever give it a dime.
I found 4 games that I still own for the Virtual Boy that I do not have the system. So
I thought you have the system.
No, it got destroyed in Sandy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you go on eBay, you can replace it.
I don't know if I want to spend that much money.
Yeah, I don't blame you because you blew a whole bunch of money buying it the first time.
It was awesome the first time. I don't care what you say.
No, it was terrible.
And with that being said,
you're terrible.
So thank you for this is our our special edition for the Nintendo Switch. Be on the lookout for
Yes, we promise to go backwards for the next episode like we always should.
We'll talk about it, but we'll probably E3.
We're going back to Retroland because there've been some developments on this end in LA that
that's true.
I must discuss.
We'll talk about that next week. All right, everyone, thank you very much for joining us on this very special edition. No one got touched, thankfully. Okay.
Oh,
See you all later.